Today we're doing a book launch. It's going to be by Nirupa Maharaj is the author. She's a mother of a gay son. And this is her story of what it's like to be a mother and exactly how she feels, how she coped, not only with his life, but also with his legacy as he's now deceased as well. So it also touches on grief. But our focus today would be to reach out to parents of LGBT kids, and, you know, just how difficult is that for you and how have other people coped with that. And also LGBT kids. You know, we struggle a lot with so many things as LGBT kids. They face a lot of bullying and discrimination, and especially that often comes from families, from parents. And just what can you do? How can you best support yourself, make yourself stronger? So we're going to be talking about that and even touching a little bit on faith, because faith does play such a huge part in all of our lives, in all of society as well.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Firstly, I want to say thank you so much for everybody that's made the effort to be here today. We're here to celebrate Akshay. This journey has been, please forgive me, it's quite an overwhelming day, lots of emotions, but I have to say that in as much as I am happy to see the support, I also have to say thank you to myself. It took me a lot of strength, it took me a lot of courage, it took me a lot to get to where I am today. And I know that Akshay is here with us in spirit. And, you know, it was Akshay's wish to do this. And here I am, boy, finally. So thank you again to everybody that has been here. To start today's event, I have everyone's important, but I have three amazing people with me who have had some impact on my life with Akshay. The first thing I need to do is introduce you to Pandit Raghubir. He is going to open this event. He's been my spiritual guide for a few years. He's also been a part of Akshay's life. He's been a part of the family's life. So I'm going to hand you over to Pandit to open up the function with a prayer.
Namaste, Vanakkam, Salam Alaikum, good afternoon, Sanbonani to all of you. If any greeting I have missed, please bear with me. But we greet from the heart. Please join me in a moment of meditation on that divinity that would exist in each of us, in every being. And then we'll proceed with prayer and a short spiritual message for this occasion. Birth as a human being is not by chance or accident. Everything that takes place happens by the will of the divine. And therefore, having taken birth as a human being, what should our purpose be? What is expected of our Creator? And the answer is given in one of our scriptures called Yajur Veda, knowledge from God. Just two words I want to touch on. It says, Kurvanna vehe karmani. That by our words, our actions, our thoughts, our contributions to life, we must live not just for ourselves, but for each other and with each other. Human beings are social by nature. We should not live simply for ourselves and by ourselves. There is a phrase in one of our scriptures which says, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. between this one vast divine earth and the one vast divine sun. We are all one family of the one divine God. And so therefore, we all belong to the race of mankind, and our first religion must be humanity. Be a good human being. That is all is asked of us, of our Creator. And this speaks, when you extend this thought, it speaks of human rights, that we respect that in each other, that divinity that each has, and the rights that each has. Like God, the soul has no gender. Our prayer for the soul of Akshay, going forward in his next birth, because death does not end life. It ends this material physical body, but the soul continues in its journey. I'm reminded of the words of two devotional hymns. First is the honor and respect that the child seeks from us elders, be it the parents, be it elders in society, be it leaders of society. Children seek leadership, honor, and respect, and they in turn follow that example. They become motivated and inspired to follow by example. Whether we like it or not, children learn by example, and we teach by example. So we must do a little reflection at this time on our own lives. Are we teaching as adults, as elders? Are we leading a life of example? And the second is, it speaks of the limitless love of a mother. It says if the love of a mother had to be measured, then even the oceans will not be able to measure up to that. Nirupa, in releasing this book as a legacy, may it help you to release and let go of your attachment for the sake of Akshay's soul to progress and for your own soul to progress. One of the very powerful lessons of life, of the universe, of our scriptures is detachment and non-attachment. As long as when we have such love and presence in our life, enjoy it, respect it, and when the time comes to let go, let go. Very important for all of us.
From myself and my son's spirit, I want to say thank you to the Other Foundation for giving me this opportunity to finally put my words out there. So I'm going to hand you over now to Tebo, who's going to say a few words. Thank you, Tebo.
Thank you so very much, Nirupa. What is perhaps even more unique about this journey that Nirupa has taken, it is a journey of a mother who takes serious the life of her son, who has, as a result of mental health challenges, ended with her life being taken. I mean, there are circumstances that need to be taken, but we know by far a majority, mental health challenges are experienced by LGBTI people. I mean, lesbian, gays, bisexual, transgender, intersex, and queer people are losing their lives to suicide and suicidal ideations as a result of the socialization that we have. We wanting people to be straight even when they are not straight. Those challenges, and it's not only because it happens in the house or at home where they are being discriminated, even rejected, but it happens in society, and as a result of society putting pressure on families, leaving families to be schizophrenic, trying to be acceptable in society and still love your child, and discovering that society does not want you to do that. Parents are caught up between social structures and systems that make people to reject their own. And we want to say, for whilst Nirupa couldn't do it whilst the son was alive, but Nirupa continued to hold on to show the love and embracing of her son, even after her son is no more, to actually speak to other parents because that's basically what this is about. Say, love them, embrace them, accept them. It is a journey of learning. Simply because you were socialized into thinking that life is on binaries, it's this or that. There is so much that happens in between. And if you can journey with your own children, your own siblings, and your siblings also journey with the LGBTI siblings, these are important things for all of us to do. And so today, we really congratulate you to stand as a parent, not only of your deceased son, because as a result of you speaking out about love and embracing of people, suddenly you have become a mother to other children whose families have rejected them. And you seeking to help them journey and, through this life, that they may not come to the same place where your son was. To assist them, not to, to go on and see life beyond the momentary challenges and see life the other side of a world in which everybody is accepted. We are proud of people who stand out in the gap, who stand out and say, but we cannot exclude others, discriminate others just simply because they are not like us. But we've got to accept all people, appreciate the fact that they are human beings too. And so congratulations for arriving at this point. Let there be no reason why we should be rejecting others. We should be in their shoes, be where they are, rather than wanting them to be where we are, in order to see, in fact, how the God we serve and the God we worship is bigger, how bigger our God is than our own limited minds. That God is operating in spaces we are not imagining that God is operating. And God reveals God's self in people who perhaps are not like us. God is bigger than our divisions. That God operates in spaces that we even don't imagine. And the God I have happened to have been nurtured in to appreciate and seek to understand is the God who often is among the marginalized. All I'm trying to say, whilst we think of LGBTI people as a minority, what about thinking of God who is with them than with us? What about us walking with them to discover the God who is with them? Perhaps that's what I'm asking for us to think about. Not be comfortable with our own space simply because we are heterosexual people, but to seek to find out and discern the will of God in other people's lives so that we may discover anew the God who is walking in a journey with LGBTI people, because God sides with those we marginalize. God operates in the margins of society. And can we therefore move from the center and go into the margins so that we may appreciate God in a new way? We have the ability to make change a possibility. Systems and structures of socialization can be changed when our minds are open enough, our spirit is drawn closer to God, and we begin to appreciate, advance, even to defend the human dignity of LGBTI people.
We are a diverse group of people. We've come together because we love and we support Nirupa. And that's something that we have in common. And so I believe each and every person, we have intersections where we have things in common. And so I wish that as you leave here today, you would have the courage to shift out of your comfort zone and to reach out to someone who's different. And that when you leave the space, let me not give you another challenge, but that would be the only challenge I give you today, is that you would approach a stranger as you would approach someone who you know very well. I think in society, this is what we haven't been doing of late. And as the previous speakers have focused on humanity, and to actually interrogate that internally, what does humanity mean for you? And are you honestly and truly reaching out to every person that you meet with that same humanity, that same humbleness, the same openness that you express with people who look like you, who are maybe part of the same groups as you are, the people you work with, the same race group, the same religious group? Do you treat everybody equally? We met in 2018, and I think the common ground that I had is that I lost my parents as a child. And through my journey, I've met many parents who may have lost their children. And Nirupa has become one of my many mothers along my journey. And I think, in many ways, if anything that we can take away from today, many of us here in the room have experienced loss. There's a period for a beginning of a relationship, a period for that relationship, and a period to pass that relationship. And so people enter our lives for specific reasons over specific times. Without love, there is no grief. So when we feel our grief, uncomfortable and aching as it may be, it is actually a reminder of the beauty of that love, now lost.
Thank you for reaching out to me. We met through Kim. Back in 2019, I reached out. I was going through my own journey of accepting myself, and then we met. And then I would like to say that in this story, it's not just about Akshay. This might be about Akshay, but Nirupa is in no way a supporting character. I think no parent has an excuse to say, I can't change my beliefs. I grew up in a different generation. Yes, you did, but you can also, as many people have said here, look at humanity and realize that you love your child first before worrying about society. And this is an Ayid woman. This journey was meant to happen. Akshay blessed you with it. Love you so much.
Thank you. I love you too. As you know, Akshay was a young gay man who struggled with bullying, he struggled with life. He had a very, very difficult journey. And I'm just glad that I was one of those parents that had the voice and had the ability to help him and encourage him. Even though Akshay is not with us today, the book, my presence, my ability to help other people will continue, and I'm hoping that this journey will continue for many Akshays in the future.
Sure. So I think the book is really important for a number of reasons, but I think the first I'd like to say is we learn a lot from people's journeys and their stories, and I think grief is one of the things as people that we keep very inwards and to ourselves. And so having Nirupa write this book about her journey dealing with grief in a poetic form allows us as individuals to also recognize and have common ground as humans and how we all deal with grief in a very similar way. And I think there's beauty in sharing that pain and sort of deepness and when we're alone and the feelings that go through us. And so in sharing that, I think there's a hope that the book brings for other parents, but not even parents, even anyone who's had loss that's affected them this deeply, to recognize the strength in being open and vulnerable with something that's so sacred.
It starts from home. Acceptance starts from home. If we as parents and siblings and families cannot accept our children, I can't understand how the outside world is going to do that. it comes firstly from the mother and the father, which I think is of utmost importance. You first got to accept who you are. So when you get up in the morning and you look in the mirror, you got to say to yourself, I love me. It starts with me. We're losing our children to suicide on a daily basis because of the bullying and the pressure. And they feel they have nowhere else to go and this noose around their neck. So, I think, and I say this every time, I'd rather have a gay child than a dead child.
My first advice would be to seek, we have access because of technology. There's a lot of resource online. So even like if you're based in KZN, you can reach out to Same Love Toti, to reach out to organizations that do work around the intersectionalities of gender identity, expression, sexuality, and faith. My second thing would be that if you are part of faith community, to speak to someone who you can trust, because this can also expose you to a lot of harm and rejection. So before just opening up about your sexuality or your journey that you're going through, is to see if your faith community that you're in is actually sensitive and ready for such things. And I think my third advice is to also reflect, because I think a lot of our own journeys is a long pausing and reflecting on yourself before just going forward, and reaching out to whoever's in your close circle, whether it's a friend or a family member, for some advice and support. I would say there's a lot of resource. I work by day, which makes me money, but for an organization which is the Global Interfaith Network. And we have a lot of resources online, particularly around healing and reconciling one's faith with their gender identity and expressions. So look up the Global Interfaith Network and you'd be able to download some of the resources. And those that you're not able to, you can send us an email, and then we would be happy to share those with you. I feel faith should be inclusive because I'm a person of faith, and definitely through my own journey, particularly when I lost my parents as a teenager, I was drawn very close to my faith. And then I had the inner fight around my sexuality, because as I grew older, I realized I'm gay, but my faith was not accepting of this. So I think through journeying over sort of a longer period of time, it's taken a lot of toiling between rejection, acceptance, and this is self-acceptance, family acceptance, community acceptance. But my faith was always a cornerstone of my journey. And for me, if it wasn't for that resilience of standing strong in my faith and knowing that God would not put me through this if it wasn't meant to be, I wouldn't be here. And so I think faith has to be part of the conversation. And it plays such a big impact, like we discussed earlier, on society. People listen to religion for a moral direction. And so if faith starts to speak about inclusive diversity at its fullest, which includes sexes, sexual orientation, gender identities, and expressions in that diversity, I think not only for the benefit of the LGBTIQ plus communities, but also faith communities will benefit from that diversity and inclusion.
I think it helps children who are in the LGBTQ society, find acceptance of who they are and learn to love themselves before trying to get everyone else to love them. But I think also we look at moms and dads who have to go through this journey of acceptance with the kids. And that's what Nirupa's story does. It helps moms and dads revisit their beliefs and how those beliefs affects their children, and learning to love their children first before thinking about society. So I've been through bullying growing up, and it hurts to say that it also came from family members. And many a times, family members would just not be educated about what they were saying and how it was affecting me. So I think it starts at school because that's the place that children spend most of the time at. And I think if they can learn through a proper way, through a proper medium, through education, about the differences in others and learn to accept that and even love others because of it, I think that will go a long way in not just my nephew's generation, but future generations, and just learning to accept themselves. So, because of my journey of going through bullying at school and through my family, I think it is important for my nephew and future generations to have a different world, to be in a space where they can be themselves and not have to question it.
So often it's society that looks to faith leaders for their moral compass. And so we need to look at ways on how to re-examine our faith, how to say, how can we be more inclusive? How can our faiths expand and broaden to include not just some people, but people, all creation, because all creation is good. So as LGBT kids, you're good. You're well made. You're not a mistake. And don't believe for 1 minute that you are rejected, because you are loved by God, by the Creator, by whatever faith you have. That faith is inclusive of you. It's just at the moment we are waiting for institutions to catch up, learn more, and become more informed on LGBT lives. So you are loved. Thanks for joining us.